We found the computer outlet, sir.
Plug in. You should be able to interpret the entire Imperial network.
You are listening to the 501stcast, the official podcast of the 501st Legion. Stay tuned to global news from the front lines of the Empire as the men and women of Vader's Fist celebrate decades of promoting Star Wars, honing the art of costumes and props, and contributing to the community through charity and volunteer work.
Give me regular reports, please. Right.
And here are your hosts. Take it away, troopers.
Copy that.
Hello, everyone. I am Mike Hinton, TK53501, or 5351, sorry, and I'm here with
Mikey B, TB60614 from the Bluegrass Garrison.
And we're doing a special. We're not here with our other hosts, Chris, Matt, and AP are not here tonight, but we're doing a special Star Wars Podcast Day 2026 edition, and Mikey and I are the only two available at the moment.
I think the mics need to get together anyway and just spend some time, and working this out. But yeah, here we are. Here we go.
It is tough being named Mike when there's usually 30 of them, and you have to, did you have to go by Mikey B your entire life? Was there always another Mike?
It's actually funny is I grew up as Michael for the longest time, and then I went as Mike for all through high school, and people call you your last name and stuff like that. And then somewhere in high school, I had an ex-girlfriend who started calling me Mikey, and my mom thought it was the best thing, as well as one of my best friends thought it was the best thing, call me Mikey. And I couldn't get away with it. So for the last 25, 30 years, I've been Mikey, and I'm like, I'm just going to embrace it. It's what it is. I'm Mikey. It's funny because I'm Mikey B on the Legion forums, on the Pathfinder forums, I'm just Mikey. On the Rebel Legion board, I'm just Mikey. I'm just Mikey almost everywhere. I'll take it. I will say this, though. Being Mikey B is interesting because there's also, being a biker scout, our Pathfinder detachment commanding officer is Mickey, who's also originally from California. And I cannot tell you, during celebration last time in California, Mickey B and Mikey B got mixed up so many times in different email threads and message threads. And I'm like, sure, I'll pick up an extra shift doing this. And then eventually it's like, oh, that was for Mickey. I'm like, don't worry, I got it. Me and Mickey, we're fine. So that's Mikey,
good.
There it is.
That's good. Yeah, I never got called Mikey. So I always got Mike H, because there was a Mike Horning in my school. So I was Mike High and he was Mike Ho. And Ho didn't mean the same thing as it does in today. The 70s. It did. Yeah. So anyway, so this special edition, I thought we could try to let people know what the show's about, but also what we're about in the 501st. And so we could interview each other and I'm going to start with, because I like to ramble sometime. The 501st cast to me was always like that. The glue that fit into the dead space of trooping, whether just something to listen to, going to troops and stuff like that. And I heard the call to action of just getting people more involved in the 501st. And I was like, this was pretty much the only thing I felt at the point that I could at least get us started with. And that's my start of just getting this. I want to both talk about getting into 501st. But my question for you to start is, what's your relationship with Star Wars podcasting as a podcaster?
Yeah. We've talked about this ourselves, but for me, I used to run a Star Wars podcast before I joined the Legion. In fact, that Star Wars podcast actually kind of moved me into joining the Legion. So the podcast I had was called Resistance Radio. You can still find it. It was news, but then also interviews with different people. We had some really great people on that. So if you're ever interested, check out Resistance Radio. It's still on iTunes. But we had everyone from LFL hard surface modelers that I went to school with on there talking about building the starships in Star Wars Rogue One, which was really cool. And I made jokes about it being, like him building Lego sets in the computer. And so that way, when it blows up, he can move each piece where it needed to go, to a bunch of different authors. So that's kind of how I got into Star Wars podcasting. I did podcasting even before that. I did a Harry Potter podcast. I'm a big geek. So actually that's how I met my wife.
There you go.
She was actually, my wife actually, we took pictures at Celebration 3 in Indianapolis. My wife and I took pictures of us, just at Indianapolis, but we didn't know each other. She was dressed as Leia from Endor. So I was like, oh, I got to get a picture with you. I never see Endor Leia. So I got a picture with her and stuff like that. And then years later, I met her at a Harry Potter convention, which again, I was doing a Harry Potter podcast. And what's funny is like pictures just kind of went by and we talk about stuff, and sure enough, she loves Star Wars. I love Star Wars. But podcasting came out because I did the Harry Potter podcast. When I kind of got tired and I just got busy and I couldn't keep up with that, that still went on without me. I did a Star Wars podcast because I loved it. And during that podcast, I interviewed a lot of friends who had joined the Legion. And I had talked about wanting to join the Legion back at Celebration 3, but it was just so far out of reach at the time. And but as I did more and more episodes on that Star Wars podcast, it kind of came out to like, oh, you know what? You can actually do this. It did take me about 2.5 years to build my first costume. I also was the squad leader at the time made a joke. He's like, all right, we'll see you in a year and a half, because he knew how long it was going to take. But I also had a newborn too. So between juggling that and trying to do it, he knew he's like, it's going to take you a while. I kind of figured it. But yeah, I mean, Star Wars podcasting literally led me to the Legion. And I've been in the Legion for 7 years now, so I appreciate that, and that's how podcasting got me here. So
cool. That's very cool. Like,
What about you, Mike? I know you do some other Star Wars podcasts outside of the 501st cast.
Well, see, my podcasting started with when I was in college. I'm really old. We used to make fun of all the guys that had Macs. Right, we were all like PC guys, and the Macs were only in like the one building.
All right, and I feel like this is a personal attack here.
No, because you'll like the end. You'll like the end. So then I went back to college in my later years and became a teacher, and I wrote a grant to get a computer, and I got a Mac. I got the old, not right after the clamshells, the little white square ones that locked. And I got a Mac, and it had iTunes. It was the first one that came with a decent iTunes. I was like, what's iTunes? Not iTunes, GarageBand.
Mm-hmm.
It had GarageBand on it. And I went and bought out the mixing board that plugged in, that worked off the interface. And I started teaching podcasting to my students. And I thought, well, let me listen to what's out there. And I just started finding Star Wars podcasts. And then I was sitting in, I think it was my daughter's 6th or 7th grade. She was in the gifted and talented program, and she wanted to be a filmmaker back then. And I mean, she still does. And the teacher said she needs to do something to like that she can, work out that just organization. And we started a podcast when she was in 8th grade. And I was just a behind the scenes guy. And that's what got me into Star Wars podcasting. Then fast forward to when COVID hit, I built this down here for her to podcast in. Little did I know the technology was going to, that you didn't need all this anymore. You could just, so then I just started, I called 2 friends and said, hey, it's a Wednesday night. Do you guys want to test some equipment? I heard this Restream thing and this and that. It's not a commercial for Restream. I pay for it. But, and we started podcasting on Wednesday nights, and we've done it for, I think, over 3 years now. Every Wednesday night, but about 6. The Inflatable Falcon, just talking Star Wars. And then that led me to, after listening to the 501st cast, and then it went away just due to whatever. I just thought, hey, I'm gonna see if anyone wants to do it. And I think you were the first person that replied to me, or possibly.
Oh yeah,
Chris.
I was.
I was like,
no, trust me, it was me. And then Chris responded very quickly afterwards. We're all messaging each other separately. It was fun.
And I was just like, I'm just going to badger these people until we get this thing started. And the plus side with when you said about joining the 501st, there's so many side effects of joining that, and one of them is just the friendships and family that you build.
Oh yeah. And
I never thought I would meet you guys doing this. I thought it was just going to be me and maybe some other person that and I am really happy with that. We all decided we because we come from all different parts of the country. I was looking through all my old 501st cards to see if I'd ever come across any of you guys' cards in all my travels, and I did not, at least from my looks so far. I was like, there's a Royal Guard. Is Chris one of the? Nope. So, and Biker Scouts, I got tons of them.
Yeah, no, I get that. Well, it's crazy that you mentioned like ever crossing paths. Just be starting 501st cast again. We've talked about, all of us reconnecting and kind of wanting to bring this about for the troopers. Like, that's why if you are listening to this, please reach out to us, send in like a bumper. We'd love to use you on here.
Yes.
One of the things Mike mentions, like, we love 501st cast before we took over and kind of restarted it. But really it's a way for the community to get together, us to be able to talk about what's coming up. Trooper Fest was something I know they talked about on the first episode. I didn't get to talk about it, but I was there. But like you're talking about, just running, seeing if we ran into each other anywhere. Apparently, me and Chris went on a cruise together. We didn't even know it.
That's funny.
We were at Trooper Fest together, and like we've talked, but we didn't know. So like apparently, me and Chris passed through a bunch of different circles, and I travel quite a bit from work and different things. But apparently, we've traveled and have crossed each other's paths. In fact, there's a picture I shared. I was like, Chris, which one are you? He's like, I'm on the left hand side. Like, there's a picture of us, but we're like in completely different spots, not knowing
That's
each
funny.
other. So I thought it was just really cool because that's how small the Legion is. Like, I love being part of the 501st because I'm originally from Southern California and I go back all the time. In fact, I'm going back in June. And believe it or not, one of the trombone players in a band I was in back in high school, he's in the 501st now.
That's funny.
And so I messaged him at one point. I said, hey, I'm coming out. Is there anything going on Legion wise? I can pack like a soft kit or something like that and troop with you. He's like, no, but there's a build party. So, I mean, it was really cool. Last time I was in California, I went up to his house and then he drove us to the LA squad leader's house. And there was a build party. I just hung out and met all these people from LA squad and Orange County squad. I just hung out there and I was like, wait, someone from Kentucky's here? I'm like, no, I'm not building anything. I just finished this costume here, but I'm just here to help. I've built a bunch of costumes, so I'm happy to help out. And but it was just really fun. Like, I love that because you can literally go anywhere in the world and meet people from the Legion. So you literally have someone. In fact, we have someone from German garrison who comes out to Kentucky all the time because he works for a manufacturer.
That's
and he literally always brings either his tie pilot, like if he's going to be here for a while, he'll bring the full armor, or he brings just the bridge crew. Or the tie reserve. Sorry, he brings the tie reserve if he's only gonna be here for a short period of time. But he always brings it because he's like, what troops are there? Because he wants to troop with Bluegrass Garrison. So he comes from Germany and he's here. Demo, if you're listening, I'll give you a shout out. I love working with you and trooping with you, and it was awesome to meet someone across the pond. But that's it. Like, you literally have a whole family worldwide. So if you're listening to this and you're just joining the 501st, check out the forums, meet people. Like, honestly, it is such an amazing group of people, and you literally have a family in the Legion. So
yeah, and like my daughter moved out to LA. She lives in, I forget, like I don't know. I call it all LA. She's like, no, it's not, but whatever. Like I'm from Pennsylvania, man. We have like Philly,
I get
Lancaster,
it. Yeah, no, I know what she means, and I get it. I'm from LA, so I get it.
But yeah, but she lives, she lives in LA. But when she moved out there, she went out there for college for one semester at Temple. They have what's called study abroad, and for filmmakers, it means they send you to LA. So the Mando Mercs were like the family she needed. Like they took care of her. The only thing which I knew was going to happen, but she didn't believe me, was a week after she got out there for college. She's like, "Can you mail my Sabine costume out? I'd like to troop." And anyone knows your costumes, I had to mail it just because I didn't want it to be safe. I mailed it in 4 different packages. It cost me probably $200 to mail it, where she could have taken it in one suitcase on her way out. But I would repeat what you said. It's family, friends, anywhere in the country. I've been in since 2007. So 19 years. I've been doing this for 19 years. My kids grew up, because I don't have family. My kids grew up with the troopers, are their uncles and aunts and stuff like that. And which I've liked, because you get a well-rounded group of people. I mean, I've trooped with people that are just starting out in their careers, trooping with doctors and lawyers and retirees and everything, all the way across. So,
oh yeah, no, you meet all walks of life for this, because it's, in the end, it's kind of like a Star Wars celebration, or even just like Trooper Fest, when you have literally everyone who loves Star Wars together. When you meet someone in the different clubs, 501st, Rebel Legion, Mando Mercs, Dark Empire, all the different ones, you have something in common. You all love Star Wars, and it's so easy to get along with everybody, regardless of any other backgrounds. Like,
right.
In the end, it's like, hey, you love Star Wars, I love Star Wars. Let's be friends. Like, that's what it comes down to. And it's just such a great, like, community when you get to it. Now, obviously, I don't want to speak ill of anything, but we know that the community can get big and there's always going to be problems. But in the end, like, just focus on what matters. One of the things I always tell people is, why did you join? Well, I love Star Wars and I love this character. Great. what else did you like? Well, I like to do charity. I'm like, that's what it is. Like
Yep.
all the other stuff, it's superficial. Let it be. Like there's a lot of noise that can happen, but in the end, it's like you meet people that you're going to be friends with for life, and it's absolutely awesome. And I love it that this community has brought everyone together, and I'm glad I'm part of it. So
Oh, right.
yeah,
Well,
and
remember Star Wars weekends at Disney?
I do.
I
I
was at a
only got
Star.
to do it once or twice, but yeah.
It was either the first or second time I took the kids to Disney. It was Star Wars weekend, and my kids were picking apart Vader's costume. They're like, "Well, that was wrong," and I was like, "Oh man, I made future troopers," because they were like, "Well, that." But anyway, I had my racing shirt on, and a guy came up to me in line and give me his card, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm from Hawaii." He was at the time he was the XO or the CO of the Hawaii garrison in
Oh,
Florida.
that's awesome.
And last time, this past summer, I was over at Batu West, and I got a patch from Golden Gate Garrison. I was just walking
Mhm.
around. I didn't realize you're supposed to bring merch. I'm just walking around with my shirt on, So yeah,
Well, I try to bring some stuff. If anyone ever sees me at any of the parks, because I go way too often to both sides, I always have coins and patches and stickers to kind of trade or just hand out if I need to. But I
Yeah.
always have something.
Yeah, I'm working on a patch jacket is right now because I'm at the point where I want all my Star Wars stuff either out or given to someone else. Does that make sense? Like I don't want
No,
I don't
that
want
does.
I don't want inventory.
I have been told I'm not allowed to get anything else because I have too many costumes and too much stuff. My office, I mean, you can see kind of piles of stuff there because I can't put it somewhere. So I understand that. It's an obsession that is fun. But yeah, what other questions do you have, Mike?
So what was your first costume? That was my
Okay, yeah. So I have, I think 5 in the 501st and like 3 in the Rebel Legion. But my first costume was Biker Scout.
Okay.
That's why I'm TB 60614. I've always loved the Biker Scout. In fact, Return of the Jedi, while not the best cinematic film, it is still my favorite film. I will argue that. In fact, the joke is my favorite color is green. It's because Luke Skywalker's lightsaber is green too. Like
Nice.
as a kid growing up, Return of the Jedi was like my film, and it always has been. And it's interesting. I was talking to someone about it, like representation wise, being part black, Hispanic, like just a complete mix. Like I really, other than being Lando, I couldn't be any of the face characters. So I gravitated towards the 501st because we had all these cool costumes, and Biker Scout was like my favorite one because I'm like, come on, who doesn't want to ride a speeder bike? Of course, we've had to build. I think we have one active speeder bike here in Kentucky, but at one point we've had a total of 3 props, life-size speeder bikes for people to get photos on and stuff like that. So, of course, I'm all about the Biker Scout. That was my first costume, and I love it. And I know yours was. What was your first costume, Mike?
TK.
You've been around for a while.
TK,
I
and you know what?
that, but
I'm embarrassed to say it's my only costume in the Legion
Mhm.
right now, just because like I have a Sandy that is done. I just literally have to get the pictures taken, and it's just always like I'm always just I don't know, but I have my TK. It was an FX kit, if you know those. It had the bucket's changed because the FX has that giant bucket.
Yeah.
But the bucket has changed. But it's I don't have any cracks in my armor. It's a little yellow. It looks like a dead tooth if I'm standing next to like some new troopers and stuff like that, But it does the job. I will do an upgrade. My daughters have trooped with me. They started as Jawas. I got their Jawa robes from Chris Bartlett's website. You ever go to his website?
Oh wow, yeah.
His TK409. I bought their Jawa robes in like 06, I think, is when I bought them. And then they moved to Tuscan and Sabine, and then Zoe. That's the Tuscan, Sabine, and 000 have taken up all my costume building time because Sabine every season I would just get the one done, and I'd have to make a new one. And so Zoe has 4 complete Sabines and 2 that are as soon as I get warm weather here will be done. Then she has all her Sabines. Now, have your kids
that's cool.
kitted up?
Yeah, so my youngest, she had a Princess Leia that she wore in the Pride Parade that we had here in Louisville, and then she has an Ewok costume to go with my Biker Scout, and she loves the Ewok costume because
Nice.
we built the Ewok feet with fur and everything. They're like Hobbit feet, so they're on top of her shoes. she really just wanted it for the feet. Like she's like, I want my Ewok feet. And she was like walking around with the feet before the costume went on for days. So those are the 2 costumes she has, but she's 3, going to be 4 tomorrow actually. And then my eldest she had a Princess Leia or 2 different Princess Leias at one point in time. She has a Padme Lake dress one that she has, and she loves princesses, so she has those. But she also has a biker scout. So I 3D printed a biker scout when she was younger. In fact, I have it right here.
All right, we got to see it.
Here is the 70% little tiny.
Oh, nice.
Little tiny biker scout. She did get sad because you can kind of see it still. I printed it in purple PLA at one point in time.
Oh, right.
She was kind of sad that I painted it white. She wanted to keep it purple.
Be a purple scout.
And I said next time you can. Next time we could do that for you. But so she has that. That helmet does not fit any of my kids at this point anymore. So it's a little tiny, but it looks nice.
The Ewok can carry it around.
Yeah, I mean, I told my youngest, I'm like, you could take it and like take your drum. You know, she has an Ewok drum. We got at Disney at one point in time, and you can bang on if you want. She's like, it's too heavy.
Now, did they join?
But she does have a. Yeah, they're in the Galactic Academy. Both of them are in the Galactic Academy. They have their TK numbers. In fact, I know we were talking about swag at one point. I have my own sticker with the family.
Nice.
There it is.
Yeah, nice.
And they have their little. There's the Ewok. Now, my eldest, like I said, has a scout armor. She has a pulled ABS now, small. And my wife is an Imperial officer, and she also has a scout that she has not finished, but she will eventually. Eventually, we'll get to it. There's always costumes being made between the kids and us, and myself making droids. So who knows? There's always something being built here.
I would say to new members, there will always be costumes made, in a good thing. I mean, for my kids, I would say up until they both got into high school with jobs, we were trooping as a family from them being 7 until probably 15, all the time. Just, it was because they loved it when we showed up, because we would come with 1 trooper, 2 Jawas, and my wife would take pictures and be a handler. So we were like a 4-for-1 kind of package.
Yeah. Well, so like here in Kentucky, we actually have a fairly active Galactic Academy.
Nice.
A bunch of our kids. Now the good news is a bunch of our kids are fairly young. So they all kind of come with mom and dad to the different troops. And some of my kids' best friends are TIE pilots. They're the same ages as them. They're 5 and 7 and stuff like that. And we have an Ahsoka who's a kid. The CEO of Rebel Legion, his daughter's an Ahsoka. So like we have all these kids and so what we try to do is like on big convention days, we try to say like, hey, let's do a kids day. Let's make sure all the kids are there. Let them have a lot of fun. And we just kind of spotlight the kids and have fun with it. And the nice part is like, as people come through, like, wait, kids can do it too. And they get excited for it. And that's really what it comes down to, is just having fun as a family and doing it for charity. But yeah, like I said, my kids love it. And, they always make jokes that they don't like Star Wars, but they don't, because they'd rather watch like whatever Doc McStuffins or something else. That she's 4 years old, so I'm not gonna push it. It is, but at the end time, like anytime Star Wars comes on, they're staring at it and they're into it and they want to dress up with dad and mom, so they're out there with us. So
yeah, I mean, my in-laws, I think, thought I was forcing my kids to do it until they came to the first troop. I mean, these were like 80-year-old people, and they saw my kids, what they loved. They came to a free comic book day one time, or a library event, I think it was, and they saw my kids just loving it. My kids, Zoe tells it like I was like a really mean to her, but the rule at our house was they had to stay in character. When they were Jawas, because back we didn't have, when my kids started doing it, the Galactic Academy was kind of a thing, but it was hard to get approval for kids to come to troops. And so my kids were like the pioneers in Pennsylvania. I was like, don't ruin it. Just, because they joined the Galactic Academy a couple years after they started, and their numbers are 98 and 99.
Wow.
In the Academy. So, but
that's very cool.
So what's your so we'll still stick with costumes. What's the one you're working on now to finish?
So the one I'm working on now is a First Order TK. It's the Last Jedi variant. I'm at the point where I have 95% of it trimmed. I have a couple of the boxes and stuff to still trim out and stuff. And I'm at the point, I have all the soft parts already put together. So now I'm kind of waiting for warmer weather to put it all on and see where strapping needs to go and what adjustments before I kind of wrap it up. But I've been working on that for longer than I'd like to admit. And I've actually done like 4 costumes in between why I started that one, just
Oh,
because it was
okay.
a bigger undertaking. But I mean, the other ones were like soft ones. Like I was like, I'm gonna do an officer, so I did an officer in between that. One of my favorite costumes to do, especially during the winter, believe it or not, is my Bith musician.
Oh,
I
okay.
one day I got a crazy idea. I'm like, I want to do a Bith musician, and I messaged a couple people in the garrison, and I was like, Hey guys, you want to start a band? And I just made a joke about it, and they're like, How much? And I kind of started links and stuff like that, and like, let's swing that. So there's 4 of us now.
Oh,
So
that's nice.
we'll occasionally get together and do like a group photo. But actually, even the Christmas parade, I love it because that mask is so hot. I mean, the mask is so hot. So like at a convention, I can only live in it for 20, 30 minutes before I'm just like, I
Yeah.
gotta take it off and breathe for a bit. But we did a Christmas parade, and because it's so cold outside, it was nice having the mask on. So it just kept me warm and everything. And so I think I was in that for like an hour and a half, no problem. So it's definitely as much as I love my biker scout, and you have quite a bit of layers. That Bith costume keeps me warm in the winter more than the biker scout does.
Yeah, I found all the plastic armor keeps you the exact opposite of what temperature you need it to be. Like
Oh yeah, I
I've
mean,
trooped winter parades and summer parades, and there's no in between. You're either burning up or freezing cold.
oh
But
yeah. The plastic armor. Like people are like, are you hot? It's like no. I mean, I'm just wearing a little undersuit underneath
mm,
this, and the armor is not really that hot. So yeah, it's definitely an interesting. And I'm sure most people can agree with like, hey, we've all had that experience in the
oh
different
yeah,
temperatures with the armor here. So,
but that's the
but
fun
yeah,
of it.
no,
I mean,
it's good.
that is the fun of like it is the fun of it when like my perfect troop is a troop that you kind of just you meet people and you sweat and walk around and then you get to sit and hang out with the people that you just trooped with all day. Like that's like the perfect troop to me. Doesn't matter where it's
Oh,
at.
oh yeah. No, the after troop meal, hanging out with like your friends is just it's the way to go. Like in fact, we're planning our big convention right now. There's a lot of things going on with all the different clubs. We're all working together. And comments have been made like, "Hey, I can't wait till we go to this restaurant again because it's in Lexington, I'm in Louisville. So it's an hour and a half drive for us, but there's a restaurant there that's only there in Lexington. We're like, can't wait to get that food again. Every
Yeah,
year we go. It's like it's a place we all go.
yep.
It's definitely like that's where you build those memories with your friends and stuff like that. So and plus every year, when you have those conventions, that's just a great opportunity for charity that you raise funds for because you're
Yep.
there and you have instantly people who want to see you guys and dress up take a picture with a stormtrooper, take a picture with Vader and all the different things. So it's really fun to do the cons and everything too. But my favorites are just the small troops. I
Yeah.
love library troops. Library troops are some of my favorite ones because you're getting with your local community, you're impacting it. And it's just like it's such a small, it's a fun vibe. I mean, easiest way to say it too.
And sometimes with the library troops, at least from what I know, you'll get kids who like I teach in a little town in Maryland. Some of those kids never leave that town. Like
Yeah.
they there's a school. I know people like in a town next 10 miles away, and some of those kids haven't left that town by middle school yet. It's just and so when we troop those small events, that's a level of charity. I don't think the Legion misses it. I think the Legion and the members understand. But I always say like just being there and getting a picture with a kid, no money exchanging hands, you probably have done some charity that you will never realize what you've done. And my
Oh
co-host,
yeah.
my co-host on my other podcast, who's in the Mando Mercs, he was trooping he just has a generic. I don't know anything about the Mando Mercs, but they make their own costume, like different Mercs and stuff. He was trooping and it got a picture with a guy. And then the guy came back later and said, "Look, here's the screensaver of my phone that we did last year." And it was him the previous year, and his son was looking for him, like all year. His, elementary school level son was looking for him. So the charity is can't be understated. I mean, overstated with what we do for them.
Oh yeah. No, one of my favorite things to kind of reflect on with people is just like you have this screen accurate costume. Like that's what the 501st is, having a screen accurate costume, right?
Yep.
Um, and you get to do these events. And the really amazing part is like you get to connect with your community and people who may never ever get a chance to be fortunate enough to go to Disney and be able to see a character and take a picture. But to them, like when you do a hospital visit or you just get to be them at the library, you are that character to them. And it's just
Yep.
such an amazing experience. And anyone that's listening, I mean, send in any like stories. Like I would love to
Yes.
share. Sorry, I'm going to keep throwing that up. Like I would love to share what the Legion as a whole, like what your experiences have been, and be able to share that with the rest of the community, because that's really why we're doing 501st Cast. It's really to give back to the community, get interaction between the members of the community, because sometimes, I mean, there's outposts that have one member, and
Correct.
you're going out to do that amazing work by yourself. And there's garrisons that have literally hundreds and hundreds of members. So like, it doesn't matter which type of garrison or squad or outpost you're in. If you hear us, like, let us know what your favorite troop has been. Let us know what your experience has been. Record a bumper for us so we can spotlight you, like in between a segment talking about, Trooper of the Month or something like that. But we would love to just be able to share this community with each other. So sorry, I
Yes.
keep throwing it back to that, Mike.
No, and we're trying, like we're starting out with the podcast. We have it on almost all the podcatchers, and it's getting on more podcatchers, and we have it on YouTube. We just got the Facebook page, some more stuff we can do on that. We're going to try to make it as easy for people to contact us with that as possible. Chris is rolling out a phone number as we speak. So
yes, he is.
We got that final, so we're going to try to do it as much as possible. You can reach out to us if you can find us on social media. We'll try to post up as much as possible. But yeah, we just want the community people to reach out, and some of the charity, I think too, is building of the costumes. All of us have hard jobs, or your life. There is something to be said with me. I sometimes just like going out in my garage when it's not freezing cold out and just working on an armor piece, or having friends over and working on armor pieces together. That is a charity that gets missed sometime too. Some of us just need a break, from our lives. And being a stormtrooper, we did a school where my daughter went. Many of the kids who made fun of my daughter growing up for liking Star Wars couldn't get enough pictures of me and their stormtrooper, and they didn't even know it was me. You know what I mean? They had been to my house many times, and so.
Oh no, I have the same experience. I've trooped both my daughter's switched schools. She's in elementary school, but I've trooped at both her schools, and every time she loves to be like, "That's my dad. That's my dad. That's his friends." Like, they're always there, and I mean, it's so amazing. Like, that's the thing, is like, if you are in a garrison or squad and you have kids, reach out to like their PTA and see if the Legion can do anything. Because those are ones that are like, yes, we can definitely do stuff. Like, those are easy things that can get approved for troops, and you make such a big impact on their schools. And then of course, like, your kids are gonna be like, "Hey, that's my dad," and they get so excited to see it. And I think I did hopscotch in my biker scout at one point with like the kids playing, and they're just having a blast with them. So I always love school troops too, because they're just fun, and the kids appreciate it so much.
Well, I last year I was nominated for Teacher of the Year or something like that. I didn't win it, but they didn't tell me. They contacted the 501st. The school did, knowing I was in the 501st. And I'm sitting in my room, and all of a sudden I hear the Empire theme start playing, and Vader and some Royal Guards roll in my classroom and escort me out of the building, with all. And again, like I said, it's all of that stuff that the Legion can do for everybody. So yeah. Now we ran over some of my questions.
Sorry, I know I just kind of
bunched
it all together.
No, I think you answered I think you answered my whole group of questions just in a lot of our intros, because it is the same experience. Like, it is that worldwide brother and sisterhood of troopers that
no.
And we're
That's
hoping
exactly
we're hoping this podcast conveys some of that. Because a month and a half ago, we didn't know each other.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, and I've been sick during that month too, which is why I missed that first episode. I was like,
I feel bad.
Felt like I was on my death. No, sorry, I felt like I was on my deathbed. I was like, guys, go on without me. But it was, that's literally what it feels like. Is like, when you think about the Legion, like we've said it, is like we're all connected because we all love Star Wars, and that's why I said, oh, you like Star Wars? Let's be friends. And this 501st Cast has come out the same way. It's like we all got together because we wanted to bring something. It started, those of you who don't know, like, the restart of the 501st Cast literally started on the 501st Legion boards. Like, if you don't check the boards regularly, this was just in general chat. I think Mike responded, and I responded not even like 2 minutes after he posted. I was like, yes.
And I only posted it because I felt bad that I hadn't been on the forums for so long. and I was reading all this stuff about getting people engaged. I was like, okay, like literally that the day I posted that was probably the first day I was on the forums in a while, and I felt bad.
Yeah, and I think it was also because like you mentioned, like you missed Trooperfest, you didn't know about it.
Yeah, yeah.
And and that was one of those things where like for those, well, first of all, for those of you who don't know what Trooperfest was, it was put on by it was a 501st Rebel Legion, Mando Mercs, like it was an exclusive convention for club members, and it was put on by the Florida Garrison. And part of it was just honestly, it was time for us just to hang out. It was really like, because Star Wars Celebration had not been in the States for 2 or 3 years now at this point. They had been talking about doing something like that here, just doing something special in the U.S. to get troopers together from all over the state and all over the country. And we did have some international people show up to Trooperfest, but really what it came out was that, like, getting us together as a Legion family. And during that, we also got to troop inside Batu, which was such an amazing experience. The photos, an amazing memory. Now, obviously, like, even if that wasn't the case, like there were still other troop opportunities while we were there, which I did, and so did other people. But it was just one of those things, being hanging out with troopers from all over. And like I said, Chris, he's like, yeah, I think we talked at Trooperfest. Like we probably talked, but like there's so many people there, like, and we just, you can't remember every person you talk to. But it is one of those things where like that's the community you want. And so check out the forums, guys. Stay on top of it. There's also been really cool stuff that I've got to do because of the forums. Like I know Justin, our CEO, has said like, hey, does anyone want to go to Lucasfilm for these types of experiences, these different shows and stuff? And I think I did it 2 years ago. I went out to see Phantom Menace for the anniversary in California, and I was like, yeah, I can do that. So I went out to it. My wife's like, yeah, go have fun with your friends. And a couple of us from Kentucky went out there, and I think I mentioned I had friends that worked at LFL, and they worked at ILM, so we got a tour of ILM there before the showing in midday, and it was just really cool to like see them. And it was actually really funny while we were there, because of this Legion event that like Justin opened up to people, and we were at Lucasfilm. One of the troopers that were with me, we were eating lunch at Lucasfilm, like in their cafeteria, and it took him like, I don't know, we'd been with them for like an hour and kind of go through the tour. He's like, wait, so you guys like actually are the ones that like worked on the show? And like one of them was like, yeah, I'm the one who built the new Slave One or Fire Spray, whatever they're calling it. And I'm like, and you built it to scale, so if you ever wanted to 3D print a life-size one to get into. He's like, yeah. I'm like, I know, that's how he is. So he's like,
Yeah.
So it was like one of those things, like it was an aha moment for a trooper from Kentucky to realize like, oh my gosh, like I'm not only here to be able to watch Phantom Menace, but I'm sitting with people that literally are making like Book of Boba Fett and The Mandalorian, and like these are the guys who create the 3D art for it. So
Right.
it was just a really cool experience, and that's all because I'm active in the community on the Legion's website. So definitely, guys, if you're listening to this, take the time to be there. Ping me, I'm on there. Like we'll make sure we all connect, and just I'd love to have you guys put something in for this. Again, I'm gonna bring it, like, share us your stories, because like send your mission reports in so we can talk about it and spotlight you and the work that you guys are all doing. So sorry, Mike, I'm gonna keep going.
No, I was gonna say,
involved with this.
I think part of our dream is that when we go to do our monthly show, we're like, oh crap, we have to make this twice a month, because we have so much information, from mission reports and all of that stuff.
New costumes, like with the new CRL website, like I'm so excited that all the new costumes are coming out, like all the new clones, like from the video games and everything. That's like, I am so pumped. I mean, again, I'm going to finish my first order TK before I do anything else. I may have started printing a live action Ahsoka Rex already, but I will not finish that until I finish my first order. Like there has to be rules. And I'm good. And I also have to finish this R2 that I'm building, because I already printed it. I just haven't done any electronics. So I mean, like, I think there's orders of stuff you have to do. You have to. I
think there's something wrong with the mics in the Legion, because I'm thinking I have 2 choppers and a R2 in my garage. I have a Vader, and so I think So that does bring me to
I will actually, hold on, because you said there's something wrong with the mics in the Legion. If you're a mic and you're listening to this and you have like 5 or 6 projects, let us know, because I really want other mics to understand that we know what you're going through when you have all these projects you want to build. So if you're a mic, let us know.
Yes. Oh yeah. I mean, I'm a hoarder in the sense that I have a specific hard drive just of STL files, because I'll be watching a show and I'll be like, oh, that's a really cool blaster. Let me see if someone made the file yet. Okay. So, I started working on a custom blaster. So this is just a mindset of a 501st person. So I watched Mando, Mando, and he had that. It's like an 1860s semi-automatic pistol is what his pistol is based off of.
Mhm.
Han Solo's is based off of a late 1800s Mauser. So then I was like, okay, let me look up a semi-automatic pistol from that same time period. I found one with an STL file and bought the file to build my custom blaster on. That's what the 501st has done to me.
I mean, that's what it comes down to, is like we all love Star Wars. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what it is. And so we just want to share that love with the community. And I make a joke that I get to be a plastic spaceman, and I grew up playing with action figures. Now I'm the action figure, and I get to
Yep.
share that love with all the kids, all the adults. I mean, I cannot tell you how excited adults get to take pictures with you guys. My favorite is being able to hand them, like, I have a DLT 19 for my biker scout. I mean,
Yeah.
I like my little pew pew, but the DLT 19 has a little heft to it, and people love it. I love being able to say, like, hey, do you want to hold the blaster? And like the look of joy and excitement people get, like, wait, really? I'm like, yeah, just hold on to it with both hands. It's heavy. It's real. I'm like, what? And just the excitement, like kids get really excited, but like dads are just like, oh yeah. I'm like, they get into it. So, I mean, it's definitely something where being able to troop and bring that to your community, there's nothing better than that. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
if you're not in the Legion and you haven't built a costume, like, it's such a great experience. So just think about doing it. There's such an amazing group of people.
Well,
But yeah.
and here's the point that I've always made is too, it is the closest to being invisible too, in a good way. Because I have trooped all day where people are literally handing me their babies to hold in Stormtrooper, or people are handing me their phones to call their boss because I have a voice changer on my TK with it puts the burst, all this stuff. You suit down and see that same person, and they don't even know who you are.
Yeah.
And
They don't know you at all.
It is so much fun. And the second part, when you were saying about the blasters, I love when you hand a kid a blaster and they take a picture, and you can see the dad or the mom is just waiting for you to say, please let me take that too. I was, when I first started trooping, there was no smartphones. This is how, barely smartphones.
Yeah, you aging yourself again,
I know.
no smartphones. I get it. Okay.
And they had flip phones, right? I had people, the lady was deleting pictures of her vacation because she wanted to send a picture of me. She's like, I got to delete. We were just at the beach. I have to delete these pictures because I want to send a picture to my grandson of you. I put my arm around her and someone took a picture. So
yeah, but that's the power of Star Wars. It's, when you think about Star Wars, it's going to be 50 years old this year,
Yeah.
or next year. And it has that longevity to it. I mean, it's multiple generations that have fallen in love with it. And, everyone can show the love for Star Wars different ways. With the 501st, we share it through screen accurate costumes and giving back to our community through it. And that's what we do. And in this case, like, we're just doing a podcast, a bunch of Star Wars yahoos that are part of the Legion, and we want to give back to the community in another way.
Yep.
So that's why we started this back up. So
right.
we
Now,
appreciate everyone.
I do remember one of my questions.
Okay.
Before you heard of the 501st, what was your first thoughts of ever building, if there were any, of building a Star Wars costume, and what was it?
Oh man.
If there was.
I mean, there was. I mean, like, I mean, here's what. Okay, I grew up. This is an embarrassing story, but I will share it with you and everyone else who listens. So
In the world.
I'm looking at you guys like, you got to trust me. This is an embarrassing story, but I grew up loving Star Wars. I had an imaginary friend named Luke Skywalker. I'm sure most of us did too, or something like that. He also broke the TV. It was never me, and I will die on that. My parents refused to let me live that down, but it was Luke that broke it with his lightsaber. It was not me that broke the TV, and I was 3 years old. But I grew up like taking the seat cushions and putting them at an angle, and it was an X-wing. Like, I literally grew up like 3, 4, 5 years old. Like, grew up with Star Wars, so I've had the costumes. Like, I was Return of the Jedi Luke one year that my mom helped me make. I think with the light up, flick lightsaber. So I had that when I was, I don't know, 8 or 9 or 10. I don't even know what age it was. I had Other Jedi costumes. I had a Vader mask that I got from a friend that was from 1983. It was a Don Post one. So I
Oh, they're
was
nice.
I have I have a lot of weird old stuff that I've gotten from like neighbors. Like, oh well, Mikey likes Star Wars, so like so I was the Star Wars kid that got all the Star Wars stuff, which was great. But yeah, I mean, like when you think about like before the Legion, before thinking about it, I was like, did I think about it? Yeah, I've thought about costumes all the time, and it was just something fun to do. Um, I found out about the Legion early. I mean, really early on. I mean, I know the Legion's 26 years old at this point, and I know early on they did the. I think it was 20 years ago they did the 501st. What do you got? Rose Parade.
Yeah, that was
With
2000.
that.
Was that 2013?
Yeah, I don't know, but
No.
I was there.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
That was 20. Yeah, I was there. I was on the sidelines watching it. Celebration 3. I was at Celebration 1 and 2 and 3. And I remember Celebration 2. I think was the first time I saw someone in a Stormtrooper kit, like a full on like plastic kit. And I found maybe it was Studio Creation, someone's website. Like this was early. Like
Yeah,
this was
Studio
before
Creations
stuff.
is
Yeah, so someone's and they're talking about like vacuum forming, and I'm like, I'm in high school, and I'm like, ooh, this is a lot more than I can do. And so it was, so I was like, okay, maybe not that, but it was always on my mind. And every time I saw someone in armor, a Vader, a trooper, I was like, I need to do that. I need to do that. I need to do that. And it just took me forever to get to it. And like I said, I moved to Kentucky after I got married, and it was something I wanted to do. And since I didn't know, I mean, I'll be honest with you, since I didn't know anyone in Kentucky, because I'm born and raised in California, the Legion was something where it's like, you know what, I want to do this. And then I've met all my friends here in Kentucky through the Legion. So it definitely is something. So now you guys know something very personal and embarrassing about my imaginary friend. But yeah, that's how I kind of got into it with costumes. But I know you've had a TK forever.
Yeah.
What about you? Like growing up, like what'd you think about, like, could you imagine costumes and kind of wanted to do this?
Well, so I would say, because I'm old enough to remember, I remember seeing Star Wars in 77. Like that's how old I am. And so
I wasn't born.
Yeah. So my biggest regret is I didn't realize how much it was going to change my life before I went in. And I only saw it once because my grandfather, there was no way you go see a movie more than once back, but once I saw it, I was into cowboys when I was a kid and stuff. I took the cowboy blaster and made it look like a blaster. And I wore that holster around like I'd come home from school and just slap that thing on like Han Solo. And and I went through all of that. Like I had like a C-3PO Halloween costume with the gold mask. It said C-3PO. It had a picture of him on the front with, those old string masks. And then Star Wars was just a part of my life. I just always loved the Stormtrooper and Sand Trooper my entire life. And I just never thought a costume, because I went to comic book conventions in the 80s. There was no one in costumes in the comic book conventions around here. They were literally, they just sold comic books. That's all they did. But I would say 93 or 94. This is I found this today when I was cleaning my cards. I even scanned it, trying to be a professional. Let me see if it works, if my share works. There it is.
There we go. Yeah.
Okay, so this, I don't think I can size it any better. Who knows? I don't think it'll size. Not really. There was this new thing called the internet, right? And this guy was selling this this was 1994. I had to pay $5 for him to send me this piece of paper in the mail. You had to like send him a check in the mail, and he would send you this piece of paper, and you could order any of these items. And I remember the Stormtrooper was this, I don't know what make it is now, but back then it was like $800 in 1994 dollars. And because I wasn't I wasn't interested in any of the other stuff. And I think he also sent me a picture of a alien blaster from Aliens.
Oh wow.
And then I just tucked this away. I'm like, yeah, I can't afford that. There's no way. And then when the Phantom Menace came out, this is my embarrassing story that my wife never lets me live down. The Phantom Menace comes out, and so her and I had tickets for opening day, and this was back when you had to buy your tickets, go pick them up, and then you had to
wait in line.
You still had to get in line, so you didn't get the really crappy seats. So we did all that, and she said, well, I'm going to do my hair like Princess Leia. I said, I don't want them to think we're one of those weirdos. You know what I mean? Because I grew up where you got you got beat up and all the stuff that you do now like if I would have said I like Star Wars in high school, I would have never been spoken to. Like it was like your hidden secret. So I was not quite out of my shell. But then I lucked out. You said Studio Creations when I guess it was 06. My wife and I are both our kids. We just finally got our lives. It seemed like they were going in the right direction. She said, you should buy that Stormtrooper suit you were been taught. Because I talked her ear off about it ever since she knew me. And she said, you should buy that Stormtrooper. And so I looked up 2 sites. And all I remember is Studio Creations. It came pre-cut with all the Velcro. And I don't know what the other site was. It didn't. And they were both $700. So I was like, well, that sounds like a better deal. So that's where I went with the FX kit. So, and that brought me to, as soon as I got that, the girls loved it. I went on TK409 site and bought 2 Jawa costumes from them.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it comes down to is like, I love hearing your stories because it's literally family trooping and everyone together. And I'm like, I'm at the same stage in my life right now. Because like I said, I have a 3-year-old and an 8-year-old or 4-year-old tomorrow. She's 3 today, but she'll be 4 tomorrow. But like, they're just like having fun with it. They have their own interests and stuff. But they always have so much fun when we're all together. When mom's there, dad's there, and we're doing it. And then, like I said, we have an active Galactic Academy. So like when their friends are there, it's even better. Like, oh my gosh, they're all on your costumes. Like, well, there it is. Like, and the worst part is, I will say this: you're always like, people love taking pictures with the troopers because like you have the screen actor costumes. But when they see the little kids in costumes, they steal the show. I mean, honestly, the Ewok, the little trooper, the little TIE pilots, like the little Ahsoka, and they're there with like the big people with the costumes. Like, that's cool, but like that is really cool seeing those kids. And like people just like, can I get a picture with like the cute kids? I'm like, yeah, my kids you can take a picture with. Like, I'm okay with that. But it's really funny. Yeah. So it's definitely something where as a community, like that's what 501st is about.
Now, have you done so? I think it was my first or second troop. We did a Make-A-Wish, which is a good thing, except it's a sad event. It was not a, and that's the plus side of being in armor. You can sit there and cry at an event.
Yeah, no, I've done hospital visits and I've done one Make-A-Wish and another one that we've done who was a Make-A-Wish child previously. Yeah. No, I've done 2 Make-A-Wish. One was we presented him with the Jedi robe. But yeah, I mean, that's the benefit of armor. Like, I don't know if I would ever do a face character for a hospital visit because you get so emotional because you see the impact. Like when we talk about like you make an impact with your community, you see the impact immediately. In fact, at Trooper Fest, we had someone who was a Make-A-Wish child who has survived and is now almost 18 tell his story and how important the 501st was. And it's one of those things where you think about it, it's like we all have the same stories. We all have had those same experiences. We've all had impact on people, whether we realize it or not. And this was the dinner at Trooper Fest, and it was interesting because like the way they set that up, they were like, they had him come out because it was a surprise to the people putting it on, but someone else had planned it, and it was like you see Mushu, the CEO of Florida Garrison, like in tears, meeting talking to his Make-A-Wish kid, and it was like he was telling me how difficult it was before he went into his surgery, and he comes home from a doctor visit, and at his house is Darth Vader and like two stormtroopers, and Mushu was his Darth Vader, and like just getting to talk to Darth Vader and the stormtroopers before going to this surgery. Like the next day, he's telling his mom, he's like, "Yeah, I'm good to go. I talked to Darth Vader." Like it was just like the impact that we have.
It's giving me goosebumps
like, everywhere. Yeah, it's like because you know exactly how that felt, and you all have those experiences. But yeah, I agree. I mean, I am so happy I have a helmet on, a bucket on, because like I've walked out of a hospital visit like just in tears. Like it's just so it's impactful, and you get to do that. So I know we have to wrap up this soon. But I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to talk about, Mike.
Well,
I mean, like honestly,
I'm just glad to get to know all you guys, and I would say this: you've been saying it the whole time, is like if you're thinking of joining the 501st, reach out to someone. I would say in the 19 years I've been in it, it is way more good than anything else. And like you said at the top of the show, there's always going to seem like there isn't, but that's not it. It's what you put in, and you'll find the people there all over the world. With your Make-A-Wish thing, we have a biker scout in our garrison who was a Make-A-Wish child. He was 18, just survived, or 17, just survived a brain tumor. It was like the week after Christmas. We changed in a frozen cornfield and walked into his house just to give him some gifts to cheer him up. And then a year and a half later, I was helping him get his costume ready so he could go to Celebration Chicago. That was his first troop, I think. He didn't take that costume off like all day.
Yeah. I
He
remember Troop in Chicago. Yeah. That's also where I think if you ever do your first troop, make sure you go to the bathroom before you kit up.
Yeah.
Chicago was a learning experience for me all day in kit. And we also had, my eldest was an Ewok at the time too. And so yeah, it's definitely something you learn early on. But yeah, Chicago was there.
I'm going to look through my Chicago pictures. If you see, did you get any pictures with 000 at all?
I would have to look through my Chicago pictures.
Because that was my daughter's debut over 000 as well.
You know what? This is what I will tell you. So anyone in Chicago, does anyone remember the tank from Rogue One that was there?
Yeah.
That was Bluegrass Garrison. That was from Kentucky.
That
was made by Don West and who else is there? Gordon Bramall, he was there. Like, he did that. And actually, believe it or not, the tank trooper that was there for that tank, that is my friend Travis Buckheimer, who was actually a Trooper of the Month this past year, I think July. And he's the CEO of Neon City Garrison now. He moved. He was actually Bluegrass Garrison's CEO, I think, during that time. But he is now in Vegas. He's now in Vegas, and so he's there. So that shows you how small this world is. Like, Mike remembers this properly built in Kentucky.
That's where I became friends with Matt Martin. Him and I were standing there talking in front of the tank. Like, literally, like, because we had
in front of that tank. There you go.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't. We could talk forever. I would say wrap it up for us is, if you seriously just reach out to the 501st. If you're a member, go to the forums. Reach out to us. Send us what you got. We had one promo our last show, right? From 20.
Let me see. I have it here. Is it from TK2066?
Yes.
Sent us in so I created a bumper with him on that. Also too, if you have any trooping photos or video, this is from me. I'm the one who's doing a lot of the video stuff for the bumpers. If you have any trooping videos or photos, especially if it's horizontal, send it to me. Reach out to me on the forums, whatever. I'd love to get that, to be able to cut it in. I feel a little bad because a lot of the video stuff I have is from Bluegrass Garrison or from like Trooperfest, or from celebrations from like what I do have, because I'm literally regurgitating like what I have to try to do so. So if you have stuff, send that in. I would love to feature you, and you might just be used like in a bumper between one segment to another and be like, oh my God, that was me at this troop here. So like, you can have that as bragging rights and stuff. So if you have stuff, send it in to us, reach out to us through our website, through whatever we have. Because like I said, I would love to be able to use that and just gather it all together.
Yep. Yeah. And again, thanks for listening. This is our Star Wars Podcast Day 2026 edition. So listen to us first, but check out new Star Wars podcasts too. Ours first, like, subscribe, share. Okay. But check out other Star Wars, and check out Chris and Matt and AP. They'll be on the regular show, which is actually, I have it set to release on the 5th at 11:38. So
I like that 11:38 there.
Any parting words? And what are we going to get for our do we have a goodbye end?
You know what? I don't think I do, but I have let's see. Let's try this. We'll try the flyby here to wrap it up. But I will say this. I guess it's not Empire, but I will say, may the Force be with you. And just honestly, thank you everyone who listens. We love this community, and I just want to give back any way we can. So,
yes, thank you everyone. May the Force be with you.